Okay, I'm not really sure how else to start this, except for a giant image of my face appearing on your screen because I'm not fancy yet. Um, so formerly, this has been the Center Conservative Mom blog, podcast, crappy audio, whatever you will. I've changing it up a little bit because we were hit hard by the flu season this past year. So for like 2 months, I haven't been able to do anything. So I've been thinking a lot about changes, about things that I would like to do with this. If you have any following on my Instagram, Twitter, or just my podcast whatsoever, I've posted about it. And if you have no idea who I am so sorry that this is your first introduction to me. So I've changed the name of this whole operation to what I use for my Twitter handle and now my Instagram handle, which is, let me see, because I just changed it. So I need to actually look. The Fear Me, so my handle is fearmeitsbre, fearmeitsbre, because I was looking for something fun and quirky that would kind of stand out. Center Conservative Mom really just didn't fit anymore, especially because, like I said, I've had like 2 months that I've been offline thinking about things and kind of restructuring in my head and a little bit on my Substack as well. So now it is Fear Me It's Brie podcast and blog. And I actually have a little bitty thing down here so I can go right to my Substack and I can show you. I wrote this January 11th, hoping to be able to like get on here and explain again. This first episode is really just going to be me saying what I'm planning, what structure is going to be like. I want to do a video like this maybe 1 to 2 times a week. I'm not going to commit to anything crazy right now just because I'm busy, and nothing will be live yet because I don't have it just wouldn't go well. So everything's going to be pre-recorded for a little while. Eventually I would love to actually have a set time where maybe I go live or maybe this or this. But right now 1 to 2 times a week. So basically I just wrote up this quick little thing. Anyone who followed me probably has already read it, but it's a newsletter of sorts since I was MIA. I just had written, "Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking with me while I've been on a brief hiatus of sorts, basically for most of November and December. It was definitely not intentional for a good chunk of November and Thanksgiving. My little family was sick. I had a couple weeks of wellness and then we were sick again all over Christmas as well. Yay, cold and flu season, right? So now that we are finally on the mend, I'm planning to get back into the swing of things." Ironically, I wrote this and then my voice, you can tell, I came right down with it again that week. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was finally starting to do stuff. So few things I plan on having coming soon, which I kind of addressed. I am not sure if the name, The Center Conservative Mom, fits what I am trying to do anymore. I've had a lot of time to reflect over the last couple months and I am just not feeling it anymore. For now, however, it will stick. I've actually changed that. So it is Fear Me It's Brie podcast and blog. I am open to new name suggestions. I don't know if I am. I'm probably going to stay with this. Currently, I am going by my Twitter handle on social media, which is Fear Me It's Brie. I am now able to produce my own podcast with sound and video. That said, I'm not sure if I'll be posting it on Substack. However, I will be posting new episodes on YouTube. If you already are subscribed to my Substack, you will still receive an email with the YouTube link every time I post an episode. It would also help as a listener if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, obviously also called Fear Me It's Brie, to help me grow. And I posted the link below, but I don't know if it looks like it's not a clicky link, so you might have to copy and paste it. Excuse me 1 second while I drink some water. Like I said, having had this cold, when I get talking, it just goes away, my voice. So for now, each episode will be pre-recorded, which I said. I do eventually want to be able to move on to being able to go live. Not sure yet how often I'll be recording and uploading since episodes right now, but my goal is at least twice a week and maybe eventually move to a Monday through Thursday format, which I can figure out more details on it. And my voice is not like this because I want my real voice back. This is not my real voice. It's embarrassing, actually. I'm looking into purchasing a domain. I'm not sure yet how long I'll continue to stay on Substack, but for now, that's where at least my blog posts and probably the audio of these will appear. I do plan on still posting to Substack. It's definitely worth a subscribe if you're interested in reading those. My Substack subscription is free. I'm not charging for it. I don't think anybody would want to charge or want to pay to listen to me talk. I don't think people like me that much, honestly. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and I guess like if you look up the blog and Substack, it's fearmeitsbre. So yeah, that's just like, this is the blog I got going on. If anyone's interested, you can kind of see where, let's go to see all. You can kind of see where like, I would say, I started it in June. August was a pretty good month. September was a pretty good month. October, November got kind of funky because after November 11th is when I got sick. I wrote a couple things in December as I was kind of like, one thing in December, I guess, about Balenciaga. My friend and I did it's fun. It's us going through trending Twitter topics just to like have fun with it. Very crappy audio quality though, but that's like an episode if anyone wants to listen to that. And then I wrote 2 things. I published 2 things, what I just read to you guys, and then like a thing up here this month. So it's been slow, but I'm hoping to pick it back up. So I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with this, a lot of this actually, but basically I'm a Christian conservative leaning libertarian. I'm wife and mother. I kind of want to talk about everything, maybe current events, history, pop culture. So bear with me, stick with me if you can. So I thought it'd be fun for like the first episode to take the political compass quiz. I know it's like 2 years old and I know I'm very behind in it because everybody's taken it already, right? I've already technically taken it, but I was watching some videos of other people taking it and there were questions I didn't fully understand that now that I've like watched people talk about it and take it, I'm like, oh, I might have answered that differently. So I'm really curious to take it again and see where I fall. And I feel like that'll give people a good idea of where I am on everything. So we're going to get rid of that and we're going to go right into that. So if you don't know what it is, this test kind of like tells you whether you're like authoritarian right, libertarian right, authoritarian left, libertarian left. Like, it gives you like where it thinks you fit in. Some of these questions are definitely rigged. Page 1 of 6 has to do with the country and the world. So some of these ones I'm a little funky on too, so just bear with me. So if economic globalism is inevitable, I don't like that. It should primarily serve humanity rather than the interest of transnational corporations. Not a fan of the word corporations, not a fan of the word economic globalism, and not a fan of the word inevitable. I'm going to hit disagree just because I don't fully understand what they're asking of me because all of that is weird. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. I am strongly disagreeing with that because I'm not going to support I'm not going to like stand behind my country and be like, yeah, if it's like stabbing puppies. You know what I mean? No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I strongly disagree with that because you can be proud of your nationality. You can be proud of your country. This one I feel like is very politically charged. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. So I think it wants us, excuse me again, very dry like throat right now. Hopefully I don't have like a ton of spitty sounds as I'm like drinking and, trying not to cough in your ears. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. I think this question wants to read as like, oh, white people, oh, this. If you replace that word race with civilization, I think that makes more sense because our civilization has many superior qualities compared with other civilizations. We still have people living on islands who look up and see a plane and they're like, what was it? That old movie, The Gods Must Be Crazy, because a Coke bottle fell down from the sky. So if you compare the word, if you replace the word race with civilization, I would strongly agree with that. But because I think it's kind of an entrapping question by using the word race, I'm going to put agree. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't know. I can see how, World War II, we had allies that we're no longer allied with right now. So I guess I will agree with that. I don't know if I would live by that statement, though. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I don't know. I'm going to disagree. Well, you know what? It's a gray area, because there were some things that happened in like World War II or any war, really, that defied law that were on both sides. I'm going to put agree, because I'm unsure. I'm not going to strongly agree with it. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. That's an odd one. I'm not sure what they're asking. I'm going to say disagree. Economy. Ooh. People are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. I believe that. I think that's one of the points that they're trying, is to divide us by class. Nationality. America was a melting pot, and it's definitely very, like, if we're talking about origin of nationality, we're very diverse. I don't agree that we're being, within America, divided by nationality. I guess outside of America, it could make sense. But I'm still going to say that people are divided more by class than nationality. Agree. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I'm going to strongly agree with that, because if you have soaring psycho inflation, companies aren't going to be able to afford to employ people. You got to get America. You've got to control that. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to afford to pay people minimum wage, even for anything. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment. They require regulation. I'm going to disagree with the environmentalist part, but I do think that big corporations should be regulated. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is fundamentally a good idea. I'm getting a little bit of a Marxist vibe from that, and I'm not sure if I'm correct on that. I'm going to strongly disagree with it. The freer the market, the freer the people. Yep. It is a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. I'm going to say no, because you want to go to a country where you don't have any kind of drinking water, and then you're going to tell me that having 6 different options on the shelf is a bad idea? So I'm going to hit strongly disagree. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Strongly disagree. I believe in personal property. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. So we're talking about what, Donald Trump here? We're talking about all of these big people with self-made fortunes or whatever. I'm going to disagree, because I know there's ones out there that are like that, but I know that there's ones out there that are self-made and trying to help America. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. That one I'm unsure on. If it's saying that trade should be protected, I would have to agree. I'm not sure though, so I'm only going to put agree and not strongly. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. I'm going to agree, but not strongly. I think if you're a company and you have people that are investing in you, then yeah, you should be driving profit to them. The rich are too highly taxed. I'm going to strongly agree. They pay the brunt of most of our taxes. Disagree with me on that if you want, but it's true. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too loud. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. I think it was it Matt Walsh that took this test and was like, it's not a should or shouldn't, it's just how it is and how it's always going to be. The more money you have, the better products that you can invest in, whether it's Medicare or medical care, or if it's like going to the grocery store and buying the better cookies versus the great value cookies, right? So I'm going to say strongly agree. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Strongly disagree because I believe in free speech. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. I'm going to agree with that. Now we're talking about personal social values. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. I strongly agree with that, and it's going to peg me as hardcore conservative because of that. And that is something that, even though I lean more libertarian now, I will always be conservative on. I'm pro-life. I'm not ashamed at all to say it. And I believe that abortion should be banned, like effectively outlawed by the states, through the states. I agree with the overturning of Roe v. Wade because I believe that it should be the state's decisions. I believe the states should decide to ban it, but I think the government should function as it was originally intended. All authority should be questioned. I'm going to say strongly agree because it's talking about, I mean, when we're talking about like Christianity and like God versus like governmental authority, that's very semantic. My gut instinct is to say strongly agree, so I'm going to say agree. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That's an old biblical saying, right? And I'm going to say disagree because I don't really think if somebody wrongs me, it's necessarily right for me to go do the same thing to them. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. I strongly agree, because taxation makes me angry, and I really don't want to fund some artsy fartsy thing. I have friends who are artists, and I want them to be able to like make their money and have their artwork showcased or whatever, but I think that that should be private. I don't think that we should be paying for that when, if we're going to pay taxes, we should be paying for things that matter a little more. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I strongly agree with that. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that have different sorts of people. Different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. I'm strongly disagreeing to that because that's a very baited question. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Strongly agree. I do not subscribe to this gentle parenting thing, but I also believe that there is a line between discipline and abuse. And biblically, we are told to discipline our children, to train up a child in the way that they should go, that all discipline in the moment is unpleasant, but it yields good fruit. And I believe in that. It is natural for children to keep some secrets from the parents. Yeah, it's natural, but it doesn't mean it's a good thing. So I'm going to strongly agree because yes, that's human nature, but that does not necessarily mean like, oh, kids keep secrets from your parents. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. I strongly agree with that. A prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generations to find jobs. I strongly agree. I would rather trade be taught than 99% of the crap that's being taught in school right now. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Strongly disagree. What is it? I believe is it Ireland or Scotland nope, it's Iceland. In Iceland, if you find out that you are pregnant and your baby is Down syndrome, it is mandatory abortion. And I feel like that question would lead to that, and I strongly disagree with that. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. I strongly agree with that. There are no savage and civilized peoples, only different cultures. Again, I feel like that's a very race bait question. I strongly disagree because the people within those cultures, we have people that think the gods must be crazy because an airplane flew overhead. We still have uncharted islands, well, not uncharted, but like unexplored islands with people that are technologically acting like the earth was made a week ago versus New York City. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I agree. If you're physically able to work and you refuse it, why should you be propped up? It's different if you have some kind of need or you're physically unable to work. If both of your legs got chopped off, that's a very different scenario. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I disagree because I feel like putting things in the back of your mind like that will just build them up, make it worse, and eventually it's going to come to the front anyway. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. I strongly disagree with that. What's good for most successful corporations is always ultimately good for us all. I strongly disagree with that. No broadcasting institution, however independent in its content, should receive public funding. Strongly agree. I don't think that we should be forced to fund CNN or Fox News or any of that crap or Disney. Wider society. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism, Patriot Act. I'm going to say I strongly agree with that. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay the progress in a democratic political system. Strongly disagree. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. I disagree with that. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I'm going to agree. Death penalty is a gray area for me. I'm still deciding where I stand on it, what I think that it should be required for, and whether I think it should be required at all. So if it is going to be a thing and it is always going to be legal, then I actually, I strongly agree. The most serious crimes. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Oops. Feels a little bit elitist. I'm not quite sure though. I'm going to say commanded is kind of a word I don't like in that. I'm going to disagree. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I mean, there's abstract art that's absolutely beautiful, and then there's abstract art that's like a banana pinned to a gallery wall, rotting with a nail in it. And so I'm going to say agree because stuff like that's not art. I'm sorry. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. I'm going to disagree because different crimes, I think, have different levels of punishment versus rehabilitation. Obviously, someone's a serial killer. It's a little different than if somebody just like stole a loaf of bread. It's a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. I strongly disagree. I believe everybody is redeemable. Everybody has a chance. I don't know that. I mean, it's said that Jeffrey Dahmer became a born-again Christian while he was in prison before he was killed. I don't know his heart. I don't know if that's true. But I believe everybody is redeemable, or everybody has the right and chance to be redeemed. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. I'm going to disagree with that because the writers and the artists are the visionaries that push forward change and they push things forward, I think, in a more creative way than just being stuck in the same manufacturing trend over and over. Mothers may have careers, but the first duty is to be homemakers. That is definitely something that's going to peg me as a anti-feminist. You're this, you're that, because I strongly agree with that statement. I'm very traditionalist when it comes to women in the home. It doesn't mean women can't have careers. I worked at one point, even though I was married and had one child at the time, before we had more kids. I'm not going to say it's not wrong for women to work outside the home, but their first duty is to be a homemaker and take care of their family. And Ben Shapiro made a very good argument about this, and he said he strongly agrees, or whatever he put, because he would hold men to the same standard as well. Because fathers, replace it with fathers, may have careers, but their first duty, why do I keep doing that, is to the home. Their first duty is to be a husband and a father, above being a Walmart shelf stalker, right? So strongly agree, even though now I'm going to be like this feminist, misogynist, whatever. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I mean, yeah, probably. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Semantics, but what establishment? Established religion, the government? I'm going to disagree just because it's very vague, and that's my gut instinct, is to say disagree. Religion. Okay. Astrology accurately explains many things. I forget who I was listening to where they were like, yeah, it does. Doesn't mean it's right, but it definitely, you know what I mean? Like, it's there for a reason. People believe in it for a reason. Just like people will use a Ouija board for a reason. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean that you should practice witchcraft or astrology. I'm not into horoscopes or any of that. But that doesn't mean that it has some weird explanations that seem on par with reality. You cannot be moral without being religious. I strongly disagree with that, where I've met people that are very moral and very good who aren't religious at all. I know it stems, as a Christian, I believe that it stems biblically from Christ and God. But I believe you can be moral without being religious. That's ridiculous. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Yeah, I strongly agree, but it depends on the charity. You could be giving to a charity that's not giving to the people. It's just sucking your money out of you. Some people are naturally unlucky. Yeah. I don't know if luck has anything to do with it, but some people go through cancer multiple times. Some people have things that happen to them that are unexplainable and just seems like you're unlucky. So, I mean, agree. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I'm going to say strongly agree, because schools who instill religious values, and yeah, there's hypocrites out there, tend to produce better children than schools that do not teach you morals. It's just a known fact. Or better yet, homeschool your kids. Finally, a look at sex. Oh, sex outside marriage is usually immoral. I strongly agree, because Christianity and my personal conviction is, yeah, it's immoral. A same-sex couple and a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I'm going to agree with that. And before anyone starts yelling at me, Ben Shapiro put it very well, where he talked about his hierarchy for adoption is always, if a child is in need of an adoption, they should always go to a heterosexual, stable, loving couple to get the mother and the father figure. That is number one. And number two, could be single, could be a gay couple. I know there's cases like the gay couple that did things that I can't talk about on YouTube to their 2 adopted sons. And that's always going to be the case, whether it's a gay or a straight couple. But Ben put it in the way of, well, what's the other option? An orphanage? Abortion? Would you rather a child be aborted or be given a chance at life, albeit with a lesbian couple versus having their life snuffed out because, well, we can't give the kids to the gays. I mean, really, think about it. Think about it that way. And what's the better option there? And again, I stress a stable, loving relationship. Not everyone's fit to be a parent, whether you're straight, gay, or whatever the letters are. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Actually, I was in a Twitter debate about this recently, and I got a lot of trolls that were just like, about it, just because when you talk about pornography on the internet, people turn into 12-year-olds. When it comes to, say, free speech, it is technically protected, I believe, in a way, if you consider it free speech. I personally think pornography should be banned from a conviction standpoint, a religious standpoint. So I don't believe it should be legal. It is. That doesn't mean it should, so I'm going to strongly disagree with that. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business to the state. My innocent mind wants to say, yeah, the government doesn't belong in my marriage bed. But I know that this could get dark and dirty with things I'm not going to bring up. I believe as long as it's two consenting adults, people are not being hurt, and it's not some weird fetish thing, I'm going to strongly agree and just go with my innocent first instinct. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I'm going to strongly disagree with that. I believe that you can be homosexual and be a Christian. And before I get jumped on there, I do not believe that you can act upon those feelings, that sin of that homosexual feeling, and still be a Christian. There are a lot of Christians who feel that way, who are homosexual, but they choose not to act upon it. Just like before I was married, I chose not to sleep with my husband, who is then my fiance, who is then my boyfriend. It's acting upon it that makes it a sin. The feelings can be there, and as long as you're not acting upon them, you're not actively sinning. I may not have explained that very well, but I strongly disagree. You can feel things, and you can choose not to act upon them. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Strongly agree. Just look at any school today. See where you stand. So their social scale is left to right, authoritarian to libertarian. So let's see. I think these are a little weird. And like I said, it's a little bit of a rigged quiz, because if you argue semantics on some of these questions, you're going to get different answers versus your first gut instinct, agree, disagree, which I did a little bit. So some of my answers are a little weird. Okay, so that's actually fairly close to what I was last time, libertarian, but so I'm further right, makes perfect sense, and I'm skirting the authoritarian to libertarian. Authoritarian, it would consider me just because I, on a few things like, what was one of the, abortion. Abortion is something I will always be conservative on. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, go ahead, allow abortion. So questions like that put me up here, which is fine. That's probably a good thing. I think last time I was right about here. So it's not that far off. Like I said, I answered a few things differently probably just because I have a better understanding of the questions, or I'm still not sure what they mean. So that said, that was fun. I'm going to go back to the full screen of my face. Forgive me for that. That said, that's all I wanted to do for like this first episode, just to give people an idea of like, oh, these are where I stand politically. Probably very boring. If you stuck with me through it, thank you for sticking with me. I guess I would just want to say, like, you can follow me, fearmeitsbre. It's all one word. I think it's all small letters, on Twitter, Instagram. You can find my Substack, follow me on YouTube. Basically just like, I'd like to do this again. I'll probably do more current events related stuff. I just wanted this first episode to kind of be a fun one, and give people my opinions, my unsolicited opinions. So that's it. I'm kind of on a time crunch here with this video. Hopefully we'll have it up soon. I'm going to stop recording now.